All right, good morning, everybody. Hey, this is Joel Hall. I'm the owner and principal consultant here at DesignFlow Labs, and today our webinar topic is going to be getting started with Podio as your CRM. So let's talk agenda and details just for a quick minute. We'll go through a quick introduction to DesignFlow and to Podio, just in case you're not familiar. We'll talk through some pros and cons of using Podio as your CRM solution, and then we'll jump into a demo. And then in that demo, we've got some use cases set up that we'll use to show you how we tailored a CRM to meet a specific sales process, and really how you could use Podio as a CRM to tailor your sales process and build this out however you'd like. In that demo, we'll also show you how you can use Podio workflow automation to automate some really key and important interactions, both internally amongst the sales team or sales organization, as well as with your clients. So full transparency, we are not going to be able to hit every feature and function within Podio today. So if there's questions you have, if there's something you see that you want to learn more about, or you're curious if Podio could accomplish a certain use case or task, throw a note in the comments, let us know, and we'll be sure to circle back around and get you the answer to that. All right, so let's start with why. Let's talk about why a low-code, no-code solution like Podio is really good as a CRM. So there's lots of CRM solutions on the market. Some meant for enterprise, some meant for small business, some more along the lines of true deal management and marketing, some more along the lines of onboarding and support. But in any case, what typically happens in any sales team, in any organization, is you have a multitude of tools. And those tools start moving information between different groups who might be siloed. They might not be able to see into those individual tools, which result in broken business processes. So if you're talking about the process in which your team or your organization might have a potential lead or a potential client raise their hand, how you capture that information, how you track that information as an opportunity, and then ultimately how that opportunity gets turned into a contract, into a deliverable good or service. A lot of times there's just a lot of chaos going on there, a lot of emails, a lot of Word docs, information getting put into different systems. So again, what we like about Podio is that Podio allows us to take all of that information, and bring it together in an organized fashion. So we're able to categorize things, build and think through and build out, applications and workspaces in Podio that help us move, our clients along a defined path. And as we like to say, it makes sure that we get the right, the right information to the right people at the right time. So while we're going to be focusing on, the sales, customer onboarding and customer support, kind of use case within this topic today and this demo today, Podio certainly has other use cases for other departments, that kind of capture, those same concepts, right? Being able to connect teams, organize information, and automate work. So before we jump into the demo, let's talk just about some pros and cons of Podio as a CRM. This is by no means a definitive list, but our first pro is just the extreme flexibility of Podio to match your process. Something you'll see here in a few minutes is that Podio really is a blank slate when you start out. So if you were to create a Podio workspace to help your sales team, track and manage sales opportunities, track and measure contracts associated to those opportunities, help you track and manage all of the back and forth work and task handling and things like that. Podio is really, really flexible in that you can take your existing sales process and bring that into Podio and design it out from the ground up. So, a lot of the larger solutions, we won't name any names, but some of the bigger CRM solutions, they've got a lot of existing functionality out of the box. They're very purpose built. And what happens a lot of times for clients is they need something a little bit simpler, which means they're trying to take apart what's already been built in those platforms, and repurpose it in an easier fashion. So with Podio, we're able to do that from the ground up, which you'll see here today. Because we can do that from the ground up, it's a much quicker time to value developing a CRM in Podio as opposed to going through the entire enterprise sales process, onboarding a larger CRM solution, and then spending a lot of time to really custom tailor it, to your needs. Again, because we're doing this from the ground up, folks like myself and the team at DesignFlow, we're able to help you kind of document out and orchestrate what your actual sales process looks like. But again, once you have that, being able to build that into Podio, with Podio being a low-code, no-code solution with a lot of powerful automation, can get you a lot of value really quickly. The final pro, it's kind of a pro, kind of maybe a con as well, is there are probably more features in Podio than we've got time to cover today or even in a couple webinars. We're going to hit on a number of those different features, but again, there's an awful lot that Podio can do just in terms of being able to help a team, in this case a sales team, or any team for that matter, organize all their information, collaborate around that information, and automate work, to get things to the right people at the right time. So, like I said earlier, if there's a question or maybe we missed something that you are curious about from a use case perspective, or you're wondering if that feature exists in Podio, again, hit us in the comments, let us know. We'll be sure to get back around and get you the answer to that. So some of the cons, I mentioned that Podio is more of a generalized platform, which is also a pro. It's not specifically sales focused. So Podio was originally built as a project management tool, but because it's, like I said, a blank canvas to begin with, and you build your applications, in other words, your tables and your records and the fields for your records from scratch, you can build out, applications to house contacts, companies, opportunities, things like that very quickly. Whereas, some of your more traditional CRMs already have that stuff out of the box, right? They come pre-configured, to help you manage customers, help you manage deals, and get going from that perspective. So again, this could be a con, with using Podio. You're building it from the ground up, but again, kind of flipping back to the pro, it's extremely flexible and easy to do. So you're able to get much quicker time to value. Another con, this is more of a risk than a con that we've seen, a lot of clients engage us specifically for help with, is that the Podio architecture, the way you structure and design your process and the way you architect your individual applications or your tables of different records, how you build those and relate those together is really key to having success with your automation down the road. So a lot of times we see companies, get into Podio, really quickly start building things out, and going about, getting the value that they're looking for, which is great. But what we see oftentimes is they get to some point down the road where they want to automate a process or they want to, add an additional use case, and they didn't really think about that in the beginning. So the way that they've architected Podio and built things out almost become a little bit of a hindrance in that. And so you're back to the problem you have with larger platforms is now you're trying to, pick things apart and reverse engineer things to make things, simpler so you can get to that automation, success that you're looking for. Finally, one of the last cons, we call this out as a con. We're going to provide some solutions and some ideas in the demo today, but Podio historically has not been great with engagement with external users. And what I mean by that is Podio was built in a way that was really, really effective for internal teams to organize work and collaborate together. And there are options to share that work to people externally. In this case, potential clients or clients coming on board who you might not want inside of your CRM, being able to see all the other records and things going on. Podio is working from a product management perspective to really improve how we can share information and engage external users with the information that we have in Podio, in this case in our CRM, but it's not perfect yet. So like I said, we're going to show you a couple different ways to bring data in, send data back out to clients, have clients engage with data, to make that a little bit more of a seamless experience. All right, so let's talk through our demo scenario before we jump over to Podio. So, when building out CRMs, one of the big things to think about is what is it you're in the business of selling? The way your CRM is structured, the way that you engage with prospective clients, the way you onboard clients and support clients, it's obviously going to be different depending on the type of industry that you're in. So, what we're going to do just as an example in this demo is we're going to show you how a services, type organization, in this case, a marketing and design agency, could leverage something like Podio to help them streamline, a number of different activities. So the first thing we'll show you is how you can intake new client opportunity records into Podio, how you can capture client, prospective client information and bring it into the system. We're going to show you how we can use Podio to then track those opportunities. Kind of the core of a CRM for any sales team is being able to track opportunities, know what opportunities, are closing when, dollar amounts for opportunities. We'll talk from a sales management perspective a little bit about how you can use Podio to help you stay on top of, those important deals and know what's going on with the sales organization at any given time. And then we'll get into a couple more advanced things, right? We'll talk about, how you could use Podio to do something like generating a standard contract for customer approval. That's something that we find clients spend a lot of time on, is just getting, a standard contract in place, reviewing the standard contract, just a lot of busy work that goes into that before the client even has a chance to look at it. And a lot of back and forth email usually ensues there. So we'll talk about how Podio can help, iron that out and streamline that a little bit. And then finally, we're going to go a little bit further than some CRMs go, in terms of client onboarding and support. What we've done in this environment is we've built out the ability to take a contract that has been awarded or a won contract and automatically generate a new project based on that contract. So we'll show you how you can do that in Podio, how Podio can handle, then the ongoing project, onboarding process for clients, how you communicate onboarding steps with clients. And then finally, we'll wrap it up with how can we leverage Podio then to intake support requests for some of those projects that may be complete. Oops. All right, so let's hop over to Podio. And what I actually want to do, I've got another workspace here. Let's pull this up. So when you start with Podio, it really is a blank slate, right? I created a workspace just called DesignFlow Development. And what I did, there was not even a contacts app here. There was nothing here. So when I say that Podio allows you to take your sales process, in this topic, and bring that into the solution, it really does mean that in the truest sense. So, what I was able to do pretty quickly, I've got a contacts app here. What I did is I clicked, add app. Podio does have the ability to go look at different apps or packages of applications in the app market, or you could create your own, which is what we did. So we just created a simple app called Contacts. Each record or item, as Podio refers to them, each item name is contact. We chose an icon, and this is what we ended up with here is a Contacts app. And then to build out your Contacts app, what you can do is you can, again, being a low-code, no-code platform, you can grab any of these types of data fields and pull those over to make up your contact application. So, in traditional CRMs, your contact application is obviously going to have name, related company, phone number, email, a number of kind of core attributes or core fields in that contact record. But what we're going to show you here in a second is how we built that out, for contacts and a number of other applications, and then how we related those together, right? So for an example, how our contact record might be related to a company record. So what I wanted to do here is just give you, if you're not that familiar with Podio, just an idea as to how easy it is to come in, start creating an application, and start relating these applications to each other to start moving work through your sales process. Okay, so let's come back over to our test CRM workspace. You can see in here I've got some existing test data already in place. The first thing you land on inside of a Podio workspace is what Podio calls the activity page. And this is really a good digest for any given team that's working on some kind of work at a Podio workspace. And obviously this event, we're building a CRM that's able to then manage projects and customer support inside the workspace. But anyone who has access to this workspace can pop in and kind of get a little bit of a running log as to everything that's been going on across all of our applications, whether it's a new contact, a company kind of working through the pipeline, a contract that's being generated. We're able to collect all of the activity across all of these different applications as work is happening and surface it here in our activity stream. One of the other things we're able to do is we're actually able to take reports from each application, build those reports and surface those here to create a little bit of a dashboard. So, for any sales organization, being able to have kind of a core set of KPIs that the team's able to look at, when they get into their work is really, really valuable. So we can see here just as an example, and again, this is a very simple build out, but we've got one contract that's been marked as one with a value of $20,000. We've got one active client. We've got one project that's been completed. I didn't mean to click that, but since I did, those widgets or those reports, the fields and lines are actionable, so you can click into those records right there, from the report. So what we'll do is we'll actually go through the process of creating a contact, tying a contact to a company, qualifying that company, which then generates a new contract record that's related to that company. And then we'll walk through how we can work within Podio and Podio workflow automation to automate and orchestrate some of the key customer onboarding activities for a project, and then provide ongoing support. So let's come over to our contacts application. And if you recall, in the other workspace, I had just started to build out a contacts application just, for sake of time, pretend I fast forwarded into the future. We've already got this built. If I crack this open, I can see now we've got some fields with some field names. So I've got a contact name, I've got an email, I've got a contact company. I can see that company is an active client. And I can see here when they came in, they were looking for help with SEO and advertising with some information here. So being able to add contacts to Podio individually is very easy. You just go add a contact here since I'm in the contacts app. But one of the things that we often find helpful, is leveraging what Podio is able to do with web forms to help us grab customer information from, say, an external site and intake that information in. So let's pretend, for example, we want to have a little bit of a contact us form, that we can publish publicly. Customers or potential customers can fill those out, and we can capture that data right in here to populate a new contact. So what any application in Podio allows us to do is it allows us to create a web form. And this web form can be configured so any field in Podio can be selected or unselected as to whether or not they're visible in the web form. There's some decent, I would say decent, ability here to, customize this, kind of give it a little bit more of a look and feel. But you're able to actually do quite a bit just with the out-of-the-box web forms in terms of styling, adding your description, changing the theme, button text, what the customer or potential customer sees after they submit the form. So what we're going to do is we're just going to look at this from a standard public link. So this is a link just to a Podio web form that was built off of our contacts app. And it exists as a standalone link just out on the internet right now. But what you can also do with web forms is you can take that form code and you can embed that in other places like your website. So for example, what we've done in the DesignFlow website, our contact us link here takes us to this form. This is a Podio web form that then routes this information back into our Podio platform as a new contact. And then, we're able to automate certain follow-up actions and things that need to come after that. So what we're going to do is we're going to use our sample web form here. Let's call this John Doe. And we're going to say they also need help with SEO and advertising. And they were able to put in here, looking. So we can configure the web form, like I said, to allow them to attach a file. They can put in the information here. And again, we've tailored this to be externally facing. So, where a potential customer sees your name, your email, it's directed to them. As we submit this, we'll see what that looks like coming back into Podio as a new contact. So let's go ahead and refresh. And we can see I've got my information captured from my web form. I've got, John Doe. But now in Podio, it's showing us, what is the contact name? What is the contact email? They didn't provide a phone. They didn't provide a company. We'll go ahead and do that here in a second. But we did capture that, they are interested in getting help with SEO and advertising with those details. One other thing that happens as they submit that form, what we've configured in Podio Workflow Automation to help with that, customer experience perspective, is we've created an email that gets generated just to let them know that, hey, we've received their inquiry. We're really interested in talking and following up. And what we actually did in this email action as part of the workflow is we embedded this little button here that's got a link to a Calendly invite. So they can come out. This is just one of the DesignFlow Calendly links that I just put in there for demo purposes. But again, the goal is to create that frictionless experience, or as frictionless as you can get experience, to make it easier for potential clients to come in, engage with you, create this system where you can capture that information and then start to automate, some of the key activities, through the process as you engage further with that client. So let's go ahead and let's create a company. Let's call this company ABC. Oh, they're an agency. Let's just, we don't have them, so let's create them. So company is ABC Agency. We can go ahead and we can select the contact we had already created. They're a little bit larger. You could put in notes, a website. Again, any of these fields can be pulled over to add as a field or an attribute to a record or to an application. So if I wanted to have, the location for a company, I could pull that over very easily, and then we'd be able to track the company address as well. Let's go ahead and close that up, because what I want to do is I want to save this and return. And what we've configured in our workflow here is anytime a company is created, it's automatically moved to this stage called initial contact. So that means we've got a new company. They're not yet a client. They're still in the qualification process. And we want to be able to track that from a pipeline perspective. All right, so we've got our new contact, we've got our new company. Let's come back out real quick to our activity page, kind of putting our sales manager's hat back on. So from a sales management and sales activity perspective, KPI perspective, we can see here, there's some new activity. We can see we've got, now a new client that's at the initial contact stage. And we can start to see some of that information and reporting KPI information fill out as we go. So let's say we want to go look at our company here that's initial contact. It would bring us to the list if there was more than one. Right now I've got one. And what I was able to do, just to kind of take a little bit of a sidestep here, talk about a couple of features within the Podio application itself. The Podio application, like I've said a couple of times, is really just a table of records. And I mean that quite literally. When you look at the way we've got the view laid out right now, it looks very much like an Excel table. And we've got, our field names across the top, and we can see, the information that's been populated so far. Now, what I can do is I can, filter which which columns I want to see or don't want to see. I can filter which pieces of data. So something I've done is I've created this view called Open Prospects. And basically what that is I went up here and I created a new view, which is a saved filter. And I said, show me all companies whose status is initial contact, discovery scheduled, qualified, or contracting. And then I want to save it as this Kanban view. So we're able to save it as this card view. And save it here at the top of my team views. So anyone who's got access to this application as part of this workspace, the sales organization, they're able to come in and say, okay, that's cool. I want to see all of the open prospects, and see them kind of in this board layout. Now, one of the things that your sales team would also be able to do, or what you'd be able to set up for your sales team, is you would be able to say, you know what, maybe we forgot to add who the company owner is. So let's just add sales rep. Since I forgot to do that, let's say that Joel is the sales rep. So now what we can do, let's just refresh this real quick. We can say, show me all of those open deals where the sales rep is Joel. And then what Joel can do is he can save that as a new view. Over in private views, which are views only accessible to that user. So I'm going to say, show me that by company status, save. So now where you've got these saved views and filters that are accessible for the team to easily navigate these things, each individual sales rep would be able to have their own views as well. So something else that we've experienced a lot, heard a lot from sales organizations is what's going on with this client. I'm sure that's something that every sales rep or account executive hears multiple times a day. And this is another reason we like Podio to help us with this kind of work. Let's say if I'm a sales rep or an account executive and I'm in here, talking to my prospective clients through the day, and working with them. Let's say I get a discovery call scheduled. You've got the ability not just to see all of the activity that goes on here, but you can comment back and forth. So maybe they want to proactively let their manager know that, hey, we've got a discovery call scheduled. You could mention your manager, or you could just add a comment, discovery call scheduled for tomorrow, 10 a.m. So again, as we look at kind of backing out to the sales manager perspective, as they look in and see, you're not having to call every sales rep or account executive. You're not having to drill into a bunch of places. You can see here that there's activity going on with these things, and you're able to come in here, comment right from there. Or you can say, you know what, I want to go look at that one specifically. Comment back. You're not leaving the context of the work you're doing. You're not doing this in email or text message. You're able to do it staying focused on the important work that's in front of you, which is the onboarding of new clients in this case. So, okay, let's move to the next step. So this agency, what they like to do is once a company is qualified, what they like to do is open up a contract record. So let's go ahead and mark this company as qualified. And what you'll see is we leveraged Podio workflow automation to create a new contract record. So rather than close out of this and go over, I'm just going to open this right up from here. So I can open this contract that's now tied to this company right from the comments. And I can see here it's bringing a lot of information forward and pre-populating information. So I can see the contract name. It just inherited the company name and the interest that the company had. In this case, it was SEO and advertising. Pulled in the company record, pulled in our key contact record. So again, we've got all of that information in one spot. We're not having to go hunt and peck and look for all of this stuff, in a lot of different places. So what I can do is I can say, I talked to the team internally. I went over the discovery notes with the team internally, and this is just, a standard, SEO contract that we have on file. So what I'm going to say is standard contract for, I don't know, call it 100 hours. I can't spell. Standard. There we go. So you can leave some notes in here as it relates to the contract. Again, depending on the type of organization you are, you're going to have different types of people involved in the creation of these contracts. There's a lot of potential automation and a lot of potential, status update type stuff that you can do here, leveraging Podio and Podio workflow automation. So, if you needed this to go off for approval, if it was over a certain dollar amount, you could do that. If you needed, I don't know, if you needed some other kind of piece of logic built in before this could move forward, Podio workflow automation allows you to do that kind of thing with the Podio records. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, all right, so we decided this is 100 hours. Let's just say it's 200 an hour. What we did is we pulled in a Podio calculation field to our contract record. A calculation field allows us to take something as simple as these two values and multiply them together. I won't go into it in this call, but calculation fields in Podio can be used for a number of different functions, not just simple, math and things like that. But again, that's kind of a different discussion for another day. But I did want to point that out, as there's a lot of cool stuff you can do with the calculation fields here. So again, I'm able to collaborate with other people, on the team as it relates to this contract. One other thing I'll mention before we move forward, I'm able to create one-off tasks, right? Those tasks can be created ad hoc, or they can create it automatically through the workflow automation engine. So, let's say, I'm an account executive, who's like, all right, you know what? Yep, scoping. I just need to, remember to talk to Joel about this one before sending. I can create this. I can assign it to myself. I can assign it to any number of people. I can give it a due date. I can give it a label. There's all kinds of things I can do there, from a task perspective or reminders perspective, as it relates to this. So not only is this system a centralized system of record, but as we like to say, it can also help nag along when you need reminders, when you need to, go pay attention to a record, or in this case, a contract or something that, maybe has a due date coming up, or maybe has a due date gone overdue. So again, a lot of that business logic that you typically find, with CRMs that you're building from scratch, you're able to build in very easily here because you're creating all of the fields just according to your process. Okay, so the next thing I want to do is a little bit more advanced use case of the Podio workflow automation, and that's generating a contract. Now, before I show you what we've done here with generate contract, Podio is part of the ShareFile business unit. And what that means is, while Podio is, the platform within the ShareFile business unit to build applications, organize information like this, automate work, do all that kind of good stuff. There are a couple other solutions in the mix that are purpose built for things like e-signature, as well as document sharing and collaboration. In this case, what we're going to do is we're going to leverage just Podio and Podio workflow automation to actually generate a PDF copy of our standard contract. And then we're going to use another automation to send that contract to the prospective client to either approve or decline. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, all right, we're in scoping, everyone's signed off on this, this all looks good. I'm going to go ahead and generate the contract. And what that's going to do is that's going to now add a new PDF to our record. So actually, if I refresh real quick, we see it was created here in our activity, and we see now we've got our PDF attached here at the bottom. So let's go take a look at that real quick. And again, what I did in the Podio workflow automation is I built, a specific workflow that says, if contract status is moved to generate contract, and if contract type is SEO and advertising, what we're doing in the workflow is we're pulling forward all of this information and we're creating a PDF out of it, out of a PDF template. So, this is just an example. It's a standard contract that, maybe a marketing and design firm would use. It's probably not, super close, but close enough for demo purposes. Outlines the expected outcomes, the activities. We can see our pricing, 100 hours, and our total project cost being $20,000. So, like I said, we're gonna send this off to the client, but they will have the ability to approve or decline this statement of work just by clicking a button right from the document. So let's say this all looks good. We're ready to send this out to the client. As a sales rep or account executive, I can send that out. And we're all now starting to track some other data as well. So there's some hidden fields in the Podio record for contracts. And you can see here it updated that hidden field called last date contract sent. It's basically capturing the date. Every time we hit that send contract button, we're capturing that date field. And what we can do with that is we can then start to do reporting over time to say, you know what, maybe as a sales manager, I want to know the dollar amount or the volume of contracts that we're sending any given week or any given month. So, by leveraging those hidden date fields and updating those via the workflows, you're able to do a little bit more from a reporting standpoint as well. Okay, so this contract went out to our customer. So let's bounce out to our customer's email. And we can see here again, it's pulling the customer's first name. It's letting them know here's the most recent contract revision. And we're just giving them some basic instructions. If this looks good, click the approve statement of work button and let us know you're ready. Now, totally understand, in 99% of organizations, this is going to be something that needs, an actual signature, maybe integrating to, the share file write signature solution or DocuSign or something like that is appropriate. But again, just for purposes of this demo, what we did is we built in here, just a little bit of verbiage. It says by selecting approve, you're agreeing contractually to the statement of work. Because what we then want to allow the customer to do is to say, you know what, yep, this looks good, or no, this doesn't look good. And again, making sure things are as frictionless as possible, we can go ahead and allow them to approve this statement of work right here from the email. So they get a little pop-up here letting them know that, the contract's been received. We're going to be reaching out to them. Sorry, I actually want to go back to email and have that open for later. But now what we can see in Podio, we can see our contract has moved to contract 1, and we can now see our date contract as 1 is 10/24. And actually, if I do just a quick refresh, what it also did is it also updated our company record to be active client, so the sales team doesn't have to remember to go over and update all the subsequent records as well. So again, leveraging the power of Podio workflow automation. Once that thing is marked as approved, we can update our contract record, update subsequent records to reflect that this is a one contract. And actually then what we do is we move this to the next step in the process, which is to generate a project. Because we know that this contract is one, it was a standard contract. We know the contract quantity and the dollars we're working with. We know it's SEO and advertising. So what we did is said, you know what? We're good to go, create the project, and let's get this over to the project team as quickly as possible. All right, so if I come over to our project, very similar to the way that a contract was created from a company record, a project is created from a contract record in this use case. And I can see right out of the gate, we've got a project manager assigned. And really all we did is we told the workflow, you know what, every time a project is created and the type is SEO and advertising, make this person the project manager. And the reason we did that is, in our little, demo scenario, the two things that, the project manager needs to do before they engage the client are these two tasks. So right out of the gate, we can see that the project, as it was automatically created, also automatically created these two tasks for the project manager to go assign the project team and set the project dates. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in, I'm going to say, Joel's my team, and let's do this during the month of November. Just for fun, we can get the whole thing done. So I've now kind of gone through that checklist. Those are the two core things I needed to do. I can mark those as done. And what I can do now is I can move this to onboarding, which will then trigger the automation to engage the client. So I'll move that to onboarding. So again, in services-based firms, there's a lot of back and forth that tends to happen as a contract gets signed, and a lot of the game of who's on first, right? What happens next for the client? Who's going to reach out to them? What kind of information do we want to send them? What kind of information do we need from them? Podio and Podio Workflow Automation really allow us to tailor build and orchestrate that process exactly the way we want the customer to experience it. All right, so I've moved this to onboarding, and that should have triggered a new email to the client. And this email is triggered, for onboarding. So we can see here to the client, your SEO and advertising project is ready to start. Again, making it personalized, to John, we're excited to get going with the project. Here's the goal of the email. Here's some information related or information for you, but we're also going to need you to confirm some information for us so we can move forward. So if you think about, your customer onboarding process and some of the things that you need a client to do, this is just one way you could tackle that. There's a whole host of ways, you could tackle that depending on how complex or how simple your customer onboarding process is. So in this example, what we're doing is we're just giving them some basic information, giving them the project manager's name, just a recap project type, letting them know the scheduled project dates, and then letting them know, here's some information we need you to confirm. Just confirm the main contact. Do you have access to digital assets and platforms? Is there any current branding materials? Is your team ready to start November 1st? So again, if you think about all of the internal kickoff calls, external kickoff calls, gathering of information, sending of information, having all of that in a central system of record like Podio allows us to orchestrate and automate a lot of that back and forth already to make things much smoother for the customer as they come on board. All right, so let's pretend, for example, I'm the customer. I went and checked with the team. Everything's great. We're good to start. I click confirm. Just like before, I get a custom little pop-up here. Thanks for confirming you're ready to start. We'll be back with next steps. So what that did is it just moved our project to in progress and lets us know, hey, project manager, we mentioned the project manager. Clients confirm they're ready to go. Start the project, right? I'm not going to go through, obviously, a whole project build out or anything. You can probably see by now how Podio can help you also manage a lot of the project details, milestones, tasks, things like that. But what I did want to do is show you, kind of the final step after we've onboarded a customer. Let's say after we've completed a project, let's say, for example, maybe we provide them 15 days of post-project completion support. What we want to do is we want to be able to track those support requests as they come in the context of all of our other customer relationship management information. So if you recall how we were able to leverage a web form to bring in new contacts, we're able to leverage a web form to bring in support requests as well. So what I did is I converted the support app to a web form. There we go. Again, just a very straightforward public-facing link. If you wanted to get more advanced, there's certainly things we've done, we've helped clients do where maybe you've got this embedded in a client portal, right? So one of the things that we've done is we've leveraged ProcFu mini apps to build a client portal so the client can see, all of the project-related items that are going on. They're able to interact with our data that lives in our Podio environment without having to access it. And then we gave them a way to create, new requests for things. But for purposes of this demo, without spending the time to go replicate all that for a pretend design agency in mini apps or through a client portal, what we're going to do is we're going to say, you know what, I'm a client who just had a project wrap up last week, and I've got an issue here. That's my issue, and I want to. What am I having trouble with here? We're having trouble with some URL redirects. So we're seeing, just again, a pretend scenario. Search engines are seeing multiple URLs hosting identical or similar content, right? One of those things that can pop up, potentially during an SEO type engagement. This is just an example. So what I'm going to do is I'm the client. I'm going to submit that. And again, just like the contact us form to bring a new contact in, we're using that support form to bring in a new support request. So if I come to the activity page, I can see we've got a new post. Oh, hey, we've got a new ticket here. If I refresh, I can see now I've got one ticket received in the dashboard. So everything again is at a bird's eye view. And for our client, we're just sending them a simple simple email that says, hey, we've received your request. We're working on it. We'll be back in touch. So let's actually go have a look at that support request. So again, because we've got all of that information in our system of record, in our CRM workspace here, we're able to see, actually it pulled in two contacts. So what it did is just using the email address, it did a search and match of the contact record because I used that email address for two people. It matched two people, but if only one of these people were using that unique email, it would pull them in. So it did a search and match. It pulled in, the details, which is they have an issue. Here's their issue. As the support person or the person picking this ticket up, I can say, you know what? That's right. This is related to this project we just wrapped up. Ticket status is received, and I'm going to move it to in progress. So, at this point, you're able to bring all of that, all of that support collaboration, into the same workspace as you've got all your project and contact information. So you're able to see from a support standpoint, everything from this support ticket back all the way through the project, all the way through the contract, all the way through the company record to be able to get as much information as you need to solve the problem. Now we did build in one little hidden surprise to this demo, and this kind of highlights Podio's ability to integrate to other platforms. So let's say in this example, I'm a support technician. I get this. Maybe I'm new. Maybe I haven't run into this issue before. I'm not quite sure what to do with it. Typically what I can do is a couple of things. What I can do is I can grab it and I can come down here and say, here's the issue. I want to escalate this, right? Or maybe I want to rephrase it, whatever. But maybe I want to escalate it, right? That would go to a manager. A manager would get, added to the support record. They would come in and collaborate with me as to what to look for and how to help. Or what we could do and what we've done in this demo environment is we've actually integrated to OpenAI, and we're able to run this through ChatGPT in the context of us being a marketing and agency, or a marketing and advertising agency, who needs some help brainstorming a solution to this problem. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually not going to escalate it. I'm going to say, you know what? Let me see what old ChatGPT has to say about this. I'm going to click Brainstorm Solution. And what this is going to do is it's going to integrate to OpenAI. It's going to go throw this query out there in the context of our organization, and it's going to bring back a handful of possible solutions. So again, Podio is very, very powerful, not just from the perspective of being able to organize and automate information and move information, internally between team members and externally with clients, but it can move information with other systems as well. So I can look at this and I can say, oh, okay, this gives me a good couple of places to start. Now maybe I can brainstorm this with a member of the team, and they can say, you know what, this is it. This is the thing we got to look at and do. I can grab that. I can come back up to our ticket status. I can load that in as a recommended resolution, and I can click Client Review. Now what that's going to do is it's going to take that information that we just put into the client notes, it's going to load it into a template, and it's going to send it over to our client here. And there's our email. So from a client support standpoint, the client received this email. We're looking into the issue reported. We have the following feedback. let us know if you have any additional details or this didn't resolve your issue. And we're able to take that field and information and pull that right in. Now, if I had continued to build this out and spend more time and build it out further, maybe we would have a button here that says, yes, this is resolved, or no, this is not fixed. And that would be able to come back in and either move us to resolved or move us to in progress. There's other things we can do. Our customer could reply to this. They could reply to that. We could configure things to have that come back into the ticket as well. Just a number of different options there as far as Podio goes. So coming back out to our workspace just to kind of round things out, going back to kind of the sales operations, sales manager hat, all of that work going on across multiple account execs or multiple sales and support type personnel throughout the day. You're able to keep all of that information organized in a single workspace within the context of a handful of applications, and you're able to leverage a lot of automation to help your team orchestrate things through the process, all while providing a really good, clean experience, to your potential clients and those clients who have come on board, and are in an active project or being provided an active service, or even being provided a support service. So that's what we've got for today. Certainly if there's questions, comments, if there's things that maybe we didn't cover that you were, hoping to see or wondering if it might be possible, you can certainly contact us, hitting the QR code for contact us below. You can follow us on all of the social media. We'll push this webinar out to social media today. One of the other things that we're doing now is we've rolled out our DesignFlow Delve sessions. So while not every customer who's looking to build things out in low-code, no-code solutions like Podio might not need a full-blown project. Maybe they've gotten a project underway, or maybe they've gotten stuff built out the way they like, but maybe they're stuck. Maybe there's questions. Maybe you're wondering, hey, how did you do this, or how could we do that? You could sign up for a paid Delve session today. They're basically 2-hour hands-on workshops where we're able to schedule 2 hours, go hands-on, see what you're working on, provide you that hands-on help and advice, and get you, or keep you moving, as it relates to your Podio adoption and your Podio journey. So, if you need help, for sure, hit us up there as well. But until next time, I hope you all find this helpful, and we will see you on the next webinar.